Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 4th Annual UCAIR Summit. Please welcome to the stage the UCAIR Board of Directors Chair, Mr. Steve Sands.
Wow, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here with us tonight for the 4th Annual UCAIR Summit, presented by Merit Medical. As many of you know, the first 3 years of this summit, the event was held at Rice-Eccles Tower Stadium at the University of Utah. And this year, due to a fantastic UCAIR staff and everybody in the room here who seems to care about air quality, we outgrew the Rice-Eccles Tower, and so we're expanded this year, and we're delighted to have you all here at the Little America for our 4th annual event. I'd like to thank Governor Herbert for being with us here tonight, and you'll hear a little bit more from the governor later in the program. In addition, I'd like to acknowledge a lot of our elected officials who are joining us tonight, many of whom are part of the bipartisan Clean Air Caucus. Will you help me in giving the governor and elected officials a round of applause for what they are doing to help address air quality? It's been my privilege and honor to serve as the chairman of the UCAIR Board of Directors, in large part because of the amazing board members that we have. So if I could please have all the board members stand and be recognized. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I'd like to especially thank our presenting sponsor, Merit Medical, and Fred Lampropoulos for their support of UCAIR. Fred's been with us from the beginning and continues to be a solid advocate for air quality in our community. In addition, I'd like to recognize our foundational sponsors who have been with us from the very beginning. They include AT&T, Chevron, Dominion Energy, doTERRA, the Gardner Company, the George S. and Dolores Dorr Eccles Foundation, Intermountain Healthcare, Marathon, Mark Miller Toyota, Maverick, Penapowers, Rocky Mountain Power, Rio Tinto Kennecott, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Foundation, and the University of Utah Hospitals and Clinics. Merit's been our presenting sponsor for the UCAIR Summit from the beginning, and we very much appreciate their commitment to our cause. And I'd now like to introduce Darla Gill, of Merit Ambassador and co-founder of Merit Medical, to give a welcome to our summit. After Darla speaks, then we'll please welcome Executive Director Tom Carter to the stage. Darla?
Thank you, Steve. Good evening, Governor, and welcome everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. As one of Merit's founders over 30 years ago, and as Merit's newly appointed ambassador, I'm happy to represent Merit Medical and our chairman and CEO, Fred Lampropoulos, at this year's UCAIR Annual Summit. Fred does send his regards. He's traveling in Europe. In 1982, my family and I moved from the DC area to Salt Lake City. And we were very happy to be moving back west to our roots. And of course, we love the beautiful mountains and the valleys of the Wasatch Front. But the year after we settled in Holiday, we were surprised to encounter one of the ugliest and longest inversion seasons that Salt Lake had ever seen. From that time on, I asked myself, what can be done about this big problem? Over the years, I've learned that there's not just one big problem, but a series of things, multiple things that cause the air pollution in our area. And therefore, there's not one big solution, but rather a multitude of changes, big and small, made by individuals, companies, and government entities that will improve the air we breathe in the state of Utah and in our city by the lake. This is the 4th year that Merit Medical has been the presenting sponsor of the UCAIR Annual Summit, and we're very proud of this partnership. We are also proud to see this event grow, and there is a growing interest in and commitment to clean air. And while we love that this event was at the Tower at Rice Eccles, outgrowing a venue is also a good thing. And it's with pleasure that we're here at Little America. From the very planning stages of Merit Medical, we've been determined to make a difference by understanding our customers' needs and innovating and delivering a diverse range of products that improve the lives of people, families, and communities throughout the world. That belief that challenges can be overcome by innovation, hard work, and a commitment to quality is what attracted us to UCAIR. Through the grants program, UCAIR rewards innovation and works to identify new solutions to our air quality problems, while educating legislators and the public as to the cause and effect of our daily choices and decisions. We at Merit are striving to do our part. For example, to encourage the increasing number of Merit employees who want to reduce their footprint, we've installed electric car charges and preferential carpool parking at our Salt Lake City campus. By 2020, all current Merit facilities, as well as any future facilities, will do the same. We've transitioned to LED lighting at all our facilities around the globe, and our Salt Lake City campus operates through variable frequency drivers for heating, ventilating, and air conditioning systems, increasing our energy efficiency. One of my and Fred's favorites, the employee garden at our Salt Lake City campus, provides employee enjoyment, as well as reduces long-distance food transport. In 2018, we harvested 900 pounds of produce that was then used in our cafeterias. We're proud of our partnership with UCAIR, and we applaud the work that Tom and his team are doing. We thank you for joining us in supporting their great mission, and we hope you enjoy the UCAIR 4th Annual Summit presented by Merit Medical. Thank you.
Thank you, Darla. Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us at our annual Show UCAIR Summit. It's an important night, and I've really looked forward to spending it with you all. Thank you for braving the elements. We know it's a big deal. I've had the distinct honor to serve as the executive director of UCAIR for 16 months, and a little later, I'll have the great opportunity to share with you our progress report and the efforts we've been making together. But first, let me share with you a quick story. Some of you may know that I worked as the Director of Government Affairs for the Hospital, Healthcare, and Human Service arm of the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Newark for about 4 years in my late 20s. Now, how someone goes from BYU to the Archdiocese of Newark is another story for another time and place, and it's actually a great story. However, I loved my time there, and I learned a lot. Often, we had meetings on financial issues, specifically around appropriations or earmarks that fell within my responsibility. As the meetings would break up, but before I would head to Trenton or DC, one of the nuns, Sister Jane, would pull me aside. Now, Sister Jane was maybe 5 feet tall, but she was a tough lady, as most nuns are, and she knew how to motivate people. She would grab me by the lapel of my coat, pull me down to her eye level, look me dead in the eyes, and say, "Tom, remember, no money, no mission." Now, I'm not Catholic, and I did not go to Catholic school, but Sister Jane scared the bejeebers out of me. And I was very motivated to go and find the money to help with that mission. I tell you this story because Sister Jane's message is important, and honestly, her wise words ring in my ears often as I'm doing the work of UCAIR. All of you are here tonight are helping us achieve our mission through your generous donations. While Steve thanks some of our sponsors, I would also like to personally thank our presenting sponsor, Merit Medical, our Summit Committee, and the Board of Directors. I also gratefully acknowledge the following organizations for their generous support in showing they care about Utah's air. At the Cirrus level, Chevron, Dominion Energy, George S. and Dolores Dore Eccles Foundation, Gardner Company, Holly Frontier, Marathon Oil, Rio Tinto Kennecott. At our Cumulus level, AT&T, Big West Oil, doTERRA, Fidelity Investments, Intermountain Healthcare, Ivory Homes Foundation, Maverick, Mark Miller Toyota, Penna Powers, Rocky Mountain Power, University of Utah Hospitals and Clinics. And our Stratus sponsors, Colmena Group, Geneva Rock, Lyft, Larry H. and Gail Miller Family Foundation, PacSize, Oakland Construction, Smith Food and Drug, Silver Eagle Refining, Staker Parsons, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Foundation, and Waste Management. And as I look around this room that is filled to capacity, thank you to our table sponsors. Please see a full list of these sponsors in our program, and please join me in giving all of these organizations a round of applause. Now, thank you. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce our very first speaker and a very special guest. Honestly, he really needs no introduction, but I'm honored to be able to share tonight with our great governor, Gary Herbert. UCAIR is the product of his vision. Governor Herbert identified a need and through his leadership shepherded this public-private partnership into what it has become today. On December 3rd, when the governor rolled out his proposed state budget, he said that budgets show our priorities. That day, he requested $100 million for air quality projects, making his priority on air quality clear. Last week, Last week, at the State of the State, he doubled down on this focus with specifics, saying, quote, "Let this be the year that we make a major down payment towards continued air improvements in air quality." Governor, on behalf of everyone here tonight, let me just say, thank you. Please help me welcome to the stage the 17th governor of the great state of Utah, Gary Herbert.
Well, thank you, Tom, for that more than generous introduction. And I am honored to be with you, and Jeanette and I are looking forward to tonight's activities and what it represents, not only the past, but the future, and the opportunities we have to go forth together here. And I'll mention that in just a minute, but we certainly want to recognize Tom's good work as the executive director. Steve is the chairman of the board, our Clean Air Partnership. I do remember 7 years ago when we started this, and I was so proud of myself because I came up with the moniker UCAIR. And we were talking about a Clean Air Partnership and the need for us all to kind of come together. And the question was raised in the little group that we were with, said, does anybody really care about the air quality? And is it something we're just butting our heads against the wall and not getting much headway? And I said, well, I care. Don't you care? Hey. And we talked in terms of, clean air, UCAIR, and that's the moniker we've used with our Clean Air Partnership. So it's encouraging to see the success that we've had these last 7 years, and I appreciate that. We still have a lot of work yet to do, and I'm going to talk about that too. But let me also recognize we have many legislators here. The culture we have here that's been changed in many ways is because of the work of you here and the legislature having a receptive ear and understanding we can do better, and we need to do better for a variety of reasons. Health at the top of the list, but we're not going to be able to continue to have the great quality of life and healthy economy that we have if we don't, in fact, address our unique challenges with clean air. So again, I appreciate our work with the legislature. The donors and sponsors have been mentioned. We have a guest speaker here that I'm looking forward to hearing Jim Cantori speak. And certainly I want to recognize those who will receive some awards tonight for their work and their example to the rest of us. Now, Jeanette tells me I'm at my most inspirational best when I'm brief. So I'm going to try to be very quick here. But, like you, I can tell you I don't miss many chances to brag about Utah. You know that. You've heard me brag before. We have a lot going for us. We have a lot to be proud about. Humble in that gratitude that we have for having a great state with great people, a healthy economy, We're just doing so many great things in so many different arenas. We have a wonderful, beautiful state. Vistas and venues that other states would wish they had. People coming, our tourism and travel is increasing dramatically. Our national parks, our 43 state parks. There's just a lot of things we have here in Utah that are great with our recreational opportunities and healthy economy. But people notice the uniqueness of Utah when they come here. Some of you don't know this, but I'll tell you, we're going to host the National Governors Association this summer towards the latter part of July. In fact, they arrive on July 24th. And so we'll have about 40 governors and entourages, and for the 2 or 3 days, we'll kind of be the focus of the political world here in Utah. We did it before 8 years ago. And we hosted them here, and the most common thing was, boy, the people in Utah are really friendly. And for a big city like Salt Lake City, we've never seen one that's that clean. So the vistas, the venues, the attitude of the people, the cleanliness of our state, and what they see here compared to where they come from is noticeable by many people, and certainly the governors from our great country. But we also know that we have some unique challenges because of the unique geography we have, the topography, where we have these things called inversions. We can't use as an excuse. It's just something we need to, in fact, address and see what can we do to work with our topography to see what we can do to minimize the pollution buildup in these inversion days. And again, that's part of what this is all about. And I appreciate the fact we've had some successes here. For example, last fall, the Environmental Protection Agency determined that the Logan area is now in compliance, by the way, with clean air standards, making it the first non-attainment area in Utah to come into compliance. In fact, since standards were tightened back in 2006. So beautiful Cache Valley is doing what they can to remain the beautiful Cache Valley area of our state. We also broke ground on the first refinery in Utah to Endeavor to begin conversion to Tier 3 fuels. Now, we talk about it. I hope everybody appreciates this is a big deal. If we, in fact, take Tier 3 fuels, marry that with Tier 3 automobiles, the reduction of pollution, which the bulk of what we see on inversion days is coming out of tailpipes, is reduced by 80%. When we get this fully implemented here in 2020, it'll be like taking 4 out of every 5 cars off the road on the tailpipe emissions. So a major step forward for us when it comes to cleaning up the air here, Tier 3 fuels and Tier 3 automobiles. I'll also just mention this, that it's called the Clean Air Partnership for a reason. It really is a matter of us coming together in a team effort. And certainly more people are wanting to join the team. And that's a good thing. As I mentioned, the cultural change that's occurred in the last 7 or 8 years, led by many people. Ted Wilson, I see here in the back of the room, and it was, with our UCAIR, has helped us as we came together and come up with a bipartisan approach of what can we do together and not make this a political football, but a common sense thing. What can we do to, in fact, improve the environment and clean up the air? So I appreciate that team effort and the partnership that's been done. Last, let me just mention that we can think bigger. And we need to. It's a matter of raising the bar and building upon our past successes, but making sure our future is bright and what we can do better in better ways and new policies, new direction. So, as mentioned by Tom, $100 million we've put into the budget, which I think the legislature is going to embrace and help us put some significant amounts of resources into, in fact, improving our air and continue the trend we've got. I'll just mention 2 or 3 things that we're doing on the state level. Now, again, I appreciate what Darla said about Merit Medical. They're actually leading by example and doing some things to help with charging stations at their facility there and helping people. One of the biggest challenges we face if you want to promote electric cars is getting over the hump of inconvenience. Some of it's cost, but most of it is inconvenience, where we can drive down the road with a regular automobile with gasoline and you never worry about you're going to be able to fill up someplace and take care of your automobile in a convenient fashion and keep on going down the road. But not so with electricity, electric cars, unless you're just a short range plugging up in at home. So part of what we're going to do is take the state and say we are one of the biggest employers in the state, if not the biggest, and see what we can do to, in fact, lead by example. And so we're going to see what we do to reduce the miles traveled by our 22,000 employees, promoting more telecommuting and the opportunities there to have accountability and still provide the services that we, the people, need to have, but maybe do it in more areas at times when we don't have to travel on the road and can do more work at home or other locations. We're going to reduce the miles being traveled by our employees. We're going to see if we can change out the fleet that we have here, that we use here at the state, to replace dirtier vehicles with Tier 3 automobiles and cleaner electric automobiles. We're going to work on cleaning the efficiency of our buildings to make sure that we're more efficient in the use of energy. And we'll make savings of that and put it back into revolving funds so we can get through all of our buildings and continue to improve efficiency of our state buildings throughout the state. We're going to use money to create better incentives for the private sector. We have 5,000 wood-burning stoves out there that need to be replaced. And we're going to help incent people to get to a cleaner burning fuel and replace these wood-burning stoves. Some days, 15% of the pollution in the air comes from the burning of wood. Now, we all like to have a campfire. Wood is part of our heritage and our culture. But we've got to address this issue head on, and so we're going to come up with a program to replace 5,000 wood-burning stoves, help us to incent people on their own to take their own dirty cars and trucks off the road, and to exchange some of our gasoline-powered motors around our homes with electric-powered yard equipment. So, again, let me just say that as we do this, as we end up putting all these things together, here's the good end result. According to our environmental quality people, I see Alan Matheson here who's helped us put this together. If we put all these little things together, it becomes a big amount. We will reduce 14,000 tons of pollution annually, each and every year, out of our ambient air out there. And that's going to be equivalent to taking 65,000 automobiles off the road. Now, I said this in my State of the State. Now, has everybody got a copy of my State of the State that I give? Because it's got a lot of wisdom in there. And I was thinking of you when I wrote it, and it also works as a sleep aid if you want to put it at night by your nightstand. So anyway, I mentioned in the State of the State, 65,000 auto, that's all the automobiles registered in my hometown of Orem. So we're moving in a good direction. I like what we're doing. We still have a lot more to do, but together with you and a team effort, we can accomplish a lot of great things. So congratulations to everybody. Thanks to our Utah Clean Air Partnership for their efforts. Jeanette and I are honored to be here with you as we work together, team partnership for clean air for Utah. Thank you.
Don't we have a great governor? Give him another big round of applause. We're going to just power through because the snow's coming down and I don't want to keep everybody too late. So we're going to start serving dinner, eat up, but you're going to have to listen to me talk for a little bit if that's all right. All right. As I shared with you, many of you before, clean air is personal for me, and I know that it's personal for you. Board members, partners, donors, all of you are pivotal as we move forward in our goal for better air. Recently, my mother was going through old letters her father, my grandfather, wrote to my grandmother. About a month before they got married, in March of 1946, he was looking to buy some property where they could build a home. He was here in Salt Lake, and she was in Sacramento. During this time, he wrote to her, addressing the letter, "Darling," quote, "I'm looking at a couple of lots this evening. They lie at 9th South and 22nd East and are out of the smoke district. I'll write more about them after I see them," end quote. Over 70 years ago, when they were building their first house, they were looking to be out of the inversion. 2259 Hubbard Avenue is where my mother grew up. She went to East High School. I tell you this story to illustrate that poor air quality is not a new problem, but something that we have been dealing with in this valley for a very long time. What we do know is that things are getting better. We are making progress. And tonight, I'm excited to share with you some of the stories of progress. Through our aggregated efforts, UCAIR has had one of its most successful years since founding. As you're likely aware, UCAIR operates on three foundational elements, what I call our pillars. First, we educate Utahns about actions they can take to be part of the air quality solution. Second, we partner with like-minded organizations and businesses to have a greater collective impact. And third, through our grants program, we provide funding for innovative ideas that measurably reduce emissions across the state. I'd like to share with you some highlights of each of these areas. First, education. When UCAIR began as an organization, it was founded upon the premise that educating the public about the impact of individual behaviors and how each Utahn could be part of air quality solution was the key to change. But we knew it was not going to be easy. Air quality in Utah is a serious problem to solve, and we need serious people to solve it. There are those that are not the least bit interested in solving it. They're interested in two things and two things only: making you afraid of it and telling you who's to blame for it. That, my friends, is how you get your name in the paper and how you raise money. That's not character, it's not integrity, it's not winning the right way. UCAIR trusts the people, and our data shows that they deserve this trust. Since inception, UCAIR has worked tirelessly to educate Utahns both about the contributing sources of emissions as well as how they can take part in decreasing their impacts. As with any effort, we want to see how well we were doing in meeting our educational objectives. This past September, we partnered with Lighthouse Research to survey Utahns and were ecstatic to find out that years of hard work are paying off. 52% of Utahns surveyed said, unaided, that vehicles, mobile sources, contribute most to poor air quality. This is almost the direct inverse to what the perception was 6 years ago, when 56% attributed our poor air quality to industrial sources. Additionally, 57% acknowledged unaided that they were responsible for solutions, not government, not their neighbor, individuals. Based on this data, we have doubled down on educating everyone on easy things we can do: not idling, carpooling, riding transit, walking, biking, skipping the trip, to continue to help improve our air quality. While great accomplishments and progress have been made, I am energized by the new challenge Governor Herbert reaffirmed during his State of the State address last week to reduce our per capita emissions by 25% by 2026. Governor, UCAIR and its partners are up to this challenge. Next, let's talk about partnership. By partnering with some of Utah's most recognizable companies and organizations, we have made giant leaps towards better air. In the past 6 months alone, more than 400 Utahns were able to swap their gas-powered snowblowers for electric snowblowers in exchange where we partnered with Rocky Mountain Power and the Department of Environmental Quality. Those 400 were the lucky ones. More than 12,000 people signed up to be part of the solution. And thousands of Utahns received funds to exchange their wood-burning stoves or fireplaces for a clean-burning gas appliance in a wood stove exchange in partnership with the Department of Environmental Quality. That wood stove exchange was a successful follow on an inaugural exchange program kicked off in 2017 with Chevron and Marathon. We're working closely with Ivory Homes as they seek to plant 30,000 trees over the next 3 years. And tonight, we would like to announce 2 additional programs that will take place in the coming months. First, due to the success of a program in 2015, we have partnered with Boeing and Union Pacific for another Show You Care gas can exchange. We plan to roll this out just before Earth Day so we can help people reduce their NOx and VOCs this spring. Second, in partnership with Chevron and Marathon, tonight we are announcing the Show You Care Ultra Low NOx Water Heater Rebate Program. When a homeowner switches to an ultra-low NOx water heater, it reduces NOx emissions by 75% compared to a standard water heater. The Show You Care Water Heater Rebate Program will offer eligible homeowners a rebate to cover 50% of the total purchase price, including sales tax and installation of a new ultra-low NOx water heater up to $500. We will be launching this program in the next couple weeks. Further, in the name of partnership, I'd like to highlight some of our friends doing good work within their own organizations. AT&T has been leading out in a number of ways. They have a beautiful building in the central part of the valley with their name on it, but in the past years, they've moved from having a building full of AT&T employees to about 6 with the rest teleworking. The space has been converted to hoteling space and rental space that has generated additional revenue for them. By encouraging and empowering their people to decrease their emissions, they are making a real difference in our air and in their bottom line. Additionally, their services could help you and your organizations set up a teleworking system. Another example of a company proactively contributing is Maverick through their commitment to electric vehicle charging. As you know, Maverick's slogan is Adventure's First Stop. Through partnerships with the Governor's Office of Energy Development, UCAIR, and Rocky Mountain Power, many of the charging stations on I-80, I-15, and I-70 are found at Mavericks, increasing charging options and decreasing range anxiety for EV owners on a wide variety of adventures throughout our state. And finally, our partner, Utah Clean Cities Coalition, has been working across Utah to have cities commit to be idle-free. To date, 8 cities and 4 prominent school districts have idle-free ordinances thanks to their effort. Additionally, if you have a fleet and are interested in alternative ways to fuel that fleet, Utah Clean Cities is the go-to resource on alternative fuels. Our third pillar is providing funding to organizations that have innovative ideas to further help clear our air, but who may lack the funding to bring these ideas to reality. This is where your support is so crucial. Without your contributions, this funding to catalyze change wouldn't be possible. This year, through your generosity, UCAIR was able to provide funding to 12 organizations, 2 more than last year. These funds will help bring about new electric vehicle charging stations led by Leaders for Clean Air, a smart thermostat exchange for disadvantaged individuals in Rose Park led by Utah Clean Energy and Utah Community Action, help with exchanging a gas-powered maintenance vehicle for a low-emission one for Green Bike, and backing the Salt Lake Chamber's Clear the Air Challenge that started February 1st, and I hope all of you, your friends, family, and colleagues are participating in. For a full list of grant recipients, please check your program. Now, last year, I spoke about cycling, and we spent the majority of the evening talking about basketball. One thing that many of you may know about me is that I'm very, very indoorsy. I don't know why that's funny. Okay. However, I am a big baseball guy. I worked in the minor league system of the Arizona Diamondbacks for 3 seasons and spent my mid-30s working for Major League Baseball on assignment in Australia. Now, I know I'm not the only baseball fan here. I had the great pleasure of sitting next to the governor at a Washington National game this fall. We talked about his love of the Mickey Mantle-led Yankee teams, and let me tell you, the governor knows baseball. Now, Major League Baseball had just purchased the rights to a winter league in Australia when they asked me to move from New Jersey, where I was serving on a city council, to Canberra to be the general manager of the Canberra Cavalry, one of the 6 teams in the Australian Baseball League. The ABL had just finished their first season, and I was asked to go run the team and grow the game. The Cavalry came in last place, losing every single road game that year before I got there, and I inherited a manager that, in my opinion, wanted to be a buddy with the players and enjoy his time in Australia more than win. So after finishing in last place, my first year running the team, we made some changes. We brought in a new manager, a young Aussie with 10 years of minor league experience, and he and I went to work. We finished that regular season in first place and went into the ABL Championship Series poised to win, but still listed as underdogs against the Perth Heat, the team that had 3 current major leaguers and a long lineage of baseball in that region of Australia. It was a best-of-3 series. We won Game 1, 6-4, going away. The afternoon of the next game, the manager came in for his usual pregame meeting. We walked through our lineup and their lineup. We talked about pitching situations and different strategies. I asked him what his plan was for the players leading up to the game. He said that they were going to do the usual batting practice, and after, he wanted to do PFPs, pitcher fielding practice. Now I was confused. PFPs are what teams do the first few days of spring training, not the day of a deciding championship game. I asked him what his thoughts were. He said that he hadn't done them in a while, that you can't be too prepared, and then this is the kicker. He said, you know, Tom, it's going to be the little things that win us this championship. Well, Perth scored 2 in the top of the first. We answered with 1 in the bottom of the inning, 4 in the second, and 1 more in the third to go up 6-2 after 3. I was feeling really good for a bit. Then Perth came storming back and tied the game up with 4 runs in the 5th, and things were really tense. I was able to breathe a little easier when one of our guys hit a solo home run in the bottom of the 7th. If we could hold them for 6 more outs, we would be champions. The 8th inning was scoreless. Now, we had set up a VIP tent area for the game that had piles and piles of hot dogs. Maybe you've heard of stress eating. Well, I'm very familiar with it. So I was huddled in the back of that tent for that last inning, shoveling hot dogs into my mouth like I was Joey Chestnut, hoping that something good would happen. We got the first two batters out in the top of the ninth. Then our pitcher faltered and walked the next guy, putting the tying run on first and bringing the winning run up. Then the most amazing thing happened. The batter hit a hard ground ball back up the box, right at the pitcher. He knocked it down, picked it up, and softly tossed it over to first base, just like he had practiced a few hours earlier. We had done it. We had won. After the confetti, the trophy, the speeches, once the TV cameras had turned off and the crowd had headed home, our manager and I had a chance to talk with our closer about that play. I asked him what he was going through his mind. He said, I've always been a little nervous when the ball gets hit back to me. I get nervous about throwing the ball into right and not being able to make the play. What made the difference today was that we practiced it. It seemed simple and a little silly at the time, but boy, am I glad we did PFPs today. I'm glad we did PFPs that day, and I'm happily wearing the championship ring from that season tonight. Now, I have a lot of great stories from my time in Australia, but when I thought about addressing you tonight about the progress we've made with UCAIR this year, this was the one that jumped to my mind. Let me tell you why. In the 16 months that I've been the executive director of UCAIR, there are times when I feel like a broken record. There are times when it feels like I'm spouting off the same 6 or 7 changes Utahns can make to help clear our air. There have been times when I wonder if the message is working. Are these actions, like PFPs before a championship game, worth the time and effort? Well, I'm here tonight to report that it is all worth the effort. People are joining the cause, and we are seeing success. We have been asking people to do their own versions of PFPs, and they are signing up to play. It has been said that decisions are made by those who show up. It has also been said that decisions determine destiny. Look around the room. You and everyone here tonight has shown up in the middle of a snowstorm. By being in this room tonight, you have raised your hand to say, I'm in. You have joined the team. So you and I have a chance to decide what is our destiny, what future do we want, what decision will you make today that will continue to help shape our success, the success of your companies, organizations, families, communities, neighborhoods, and by extension, our state. As I've been sharing decisions made by our partners in the private and public sectors, my hope is that you've had an idea of something you can do as an individual or as an organization. And my invitation is simple. Decide now to act. Decide now, tonight, to make the change. And together, we will shape Utah's destiny one success under clear skies. Thank you very much. In keeping with the theme of celebrating success this year, we've now come to my favorite points in the evening, the 3 Achievement Awards. I would like to invite back Board Chair Steve Sands and the Governor, Gary Herbert, back to the stage to help me present our awards. All right, we're going to get everybody in place. Ashley, you're good, almost. Okay, good. All right. First, the 2019 Clean Air Person of the Year. This individual has a passion for driving down vehicle emissions and has put this passion into practice to make real changes. Working with UCAIR and Envision Utah, he has led the development of a new vehicle sticker that more clearly identifies the vehicle's smog rating to help people make more informed buying decisions. This new display also directs people to the smog rating tool at ucair.org. Please welcome to the stage the 2019 Person of the Year, John Miller.
Well, thank you. This is pretty cool. My 6-year-old was going to give my speech, and at the last minute he backed out, so I'll try and be brief, though. My first experience with UCAIR came about 4 years ago when Ted Wilson was running it, and he reached out to see if we wanted to get involved. And as an avid rock climber, anytime you can work with a local legend, you do. And I'll never forget my first partners meeting, and he talked about saints and sinners. As he put it, he said 20% are saints, just stay out of their way, they're going to do the right thing for clean air. 20% are sinners, don't let them get you down, they're untouchable. But the 60% is where we can have an impact. And I think my industry, the car business, with the 50% roughly are mobile sources that go into our inversion, we can have an impact on that. And our journey as being an environmental leader in our industry started 12 years ago roughly. So we were building a new facility, and at a suggestion from Toyota, we traveled to just outside of Dallas, Texas, not really known as a bastion for environmental leadership. But down there was the first lead dealership in the nation. And so we got to learn a lot about it. We came back and said, well, we can probably do that. And then as we continued down, Mark continued and said, well, we can probably be silver. And we continued a little further, and we can probably be gold. And we narrowly missed being the first gold lead facility in the United States for a car dealership. And since then, I'm very proud. It hasn't taken off quite enough in our industry, but there's 2 more lead facilities, and both of them also say Mark Miller on them. So I think we can have an impact there, and this is very nice, and I appreciate it. So.
Next is our 2019 Clean Air Business Partner of the Year. For the past 2 years, this business has had bragging rights at the Clear the Air Challenge, having finished in the top 5 large teams both years. But its commitment to better air extends far beyond the month-long challenge. Being mindful and encouraging behaviors that better our air are part of its culture. They purchase passes for employees to encourage them to ride transit, as well as installing electric charging stations at its office. Please help me congratulate Fidelity Investments and welcome to the stage Josh Deacon, Executive and Head of Client Services for Fidelity, to accept this award.
Now, my wife told me to put this down, so I don't.
I can hold.
Thank you, Tom. This is quite an honor. On behalf of the 1,800 plus Fidelity employees that work here in Utah, we want to pass along our gratitude to UCAIR for the special recognition. At Fidelity, we believe in inspiring better futures for our customers. We also believe in inspiring our associates to make a positive impact on the communities in which we work and live. We make that impact through our volunteer efforts, improving school, education facilities, and teaching Utah's youth about the importance of financial literacy through our partners at Junior Achievement and the Boys and Girls Club of Utah. And just as importantly, participating in sustainability efforts. You see, we want to protect and improve Utah's beautiful environment and bluebird skies in any way that we possibly can. And to that end, we've been working really hard here in Utah for the last few years with a lot of help from our employee volunteers. We were the first Fidelity region nationwide to establish a sustainability committee, and now many more sites have followed our lead. And as Tom mentioned, one of our most visible efforts is our participation in the Clean the Air Challenge, which is happening right now, and I hope all of you are participating. It's something we've proudly accepted the past 8 years, and through our employees' efforts, we have stopped an estimated 278 tons of carbon dioxide emissions from entering Utah's air. Thank you. But that's only part of the sustainability effort. As a responsible corporate citizen, environmental sustainability has long been Fidelity's commitment to our community. From our in-house recycling programs, to our sustained efforts to reduce printing, to our fully subsidized transportation passes, to our LEED certified buildings, and our electric vehicle charging stations, we are leading by example. And we hope that that example inspires other companies to identify and solidify their own sustainability efforts. So, again, thank you very much. And know that we are working hard to become one of the greenest companies in beautiful Utah. Thank you.
Our final award tonight is the 2019 Clean Air Community Partner of the Year. In talking to the folks over there, I've been told their interest is not just in healthcare, but in keeping people well. That really stuck with me. And their actions towards air quality truly demonstrate that commitment. They are transitioning their fleet to clean fuel vehicles, promoting an idle-free campuses, and encouraging staff to educate those it serves about air quality. Please congratulate Intermountain Healthcare and welcome to the stage Intermountain CEO Dr. Mark Harrison to accept the Clean Air Community Partner of the Year award for his organization, Intermountain Healthcare.
Well, this is quite an honor. Thanks to UCAIR. I'm accepting this award on behalf of our 37,000 caregivers. And at Intermountain, we believe that everybody who works on our team contributes to the health of the community. And I just want to say thank you to everything that our team does every day. But maybe even more importantly, we believe good health is a team sport. And we could not make the impact that we're making in the absence of our community partners. You heard that the impacts we're making are really around a couple of pillars. One is education, another is high quality research, and third is around sustainability. I really appreciate the governor's comments when he points out that this is a social and economic issue here in Utah. Clean air is also a big health issue. I'd like to just remind you that nationwide, millions of emergency department visits are attributable to poor air quality. A lot of research has been generated right here in Utah. And just to remind you, childhood asthma, adult pulmonary disease, congestive heart failure, heart attack, stroke, and preterm deliveries all increase after bad air days. An extraordinary challenge for us. I'm heartened by the plans that you've heard from the governor and others, and please count on Intermountain to be all in with you as we seek to make Utah the healthiest state in the United States, also the state with the most affordable health care. Thank you very much on behalf of all Intermountain folks.
Before we send the governor down, we have a quick gift for him. Governor, about the end of the year, we had these special UCAIR lapel pins made. Because you are our founder, because of all that you do for air quality, we want to present you with one of these special UCAIR lapel pins. We hope you will wear it with pride. Another big round of applause to all our award winners, to the governor, and to Steve. The annual awards are a tough act to follow, but we are fortunate tonight to have just the person to do it. Our keynote speaker is a storm chaser and one of the most recognized faces in weather. Jim Cantori is known nationwide for his live reports from several weather events. Jim embodies the passion and knowledge of the Weather Channel television network that makes him the weather authority viewers turn to when the forecast turns dire. I was text messaging him this morning with the weather turning dire. I'm like, Jim, what's going on? And he let me in on all the scoop. All I had to do was look outside, but it was great. He has covered every major weather event in the past 30 years, including Hurricanes Harvey and Irma, solidifying his role and the role of the Weather Channel as a leading source for severe weather coverage. Jim is well known for his animated, tenacious style, both in the field and in the studio. Jim is a big fan of Utah, skiing here often as possible, and was excited to come here tonight and spend a few days on our world-famous slopes, of course, if you can get to them, because he brought all the snow with him. Before we welcome Jim to the stage, let's take a look at some highlights from his 30 years at the Weather Channel.
I've been advised that Jim Cantori is on hand with an interesting interview, and we'll just throw it to Jim.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
I don't know what your idea of a good time is, but this ain't it.
My Coachella in college. I've always treasured that. Mr. Tom, a little bit. How about it? Just looking at you, kid. We're onto something here.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our keynote speaker, Jim Cantori.
Good evening, everybody. Very, very excited to be here. This is pretty awesome for me, to come out, because in a way, we're kind of all on the same page. I care about people. I want to get them out of harm's way, and I want to do what I can before and during a storm to accomplish that mission. And certainly, you guys care about your state, about your city, and where you go with air quality. So, looking forward to talking to you guys tonight. It's kind of interesting. Governor Herbert's son actually has some meteorology in his background. And to give you an idea how small the world is, I have a friend who lives in Utah. Her name is Jody Salen. He said, I had the governor's son intern with me back in the day. So it's nice to kind of see that come full circle here. What I'm going to do with you guys tonight a little bit is talk about the unique temperature inversion that is Salt Lake City, because you're going to always have it. This is the way you're shaped here. What you put into that inversion is the key, all right? And then we're going to have a little fun, because there's been some videos that you saw at the top of the hour here. There's been some videos that I've helped produce myself out in the snow, and there's a little thunder and lightning going on. There's a little kid at College of Charleston who just happened to run up to me when I was down there covering an ice storm. But a lot of times you don't know what actually is the foreground and the background story there. What's really going on? So I'm going to tell you some of those stories that go on. So let's talk a little bit about this inversion. And the picture that I have there, which I'll widen out a little bit, is one that I took from a plane coming into Salt Lake to ski in 2014. All right, so you can see how perfect that thing is. And what was really cool is me and my roommate from college, we go on a ski trip every year, and we rented a car, and we drove up the canyon toward Snowbird, and sure enough, you could watch the temperature go from cold to warm as you head up and above that inversion. So it was really kind of cool to watch that, but I'll never forget seeing how perfect that was. But then if you look at Salt Lake City, regardless of where you are at in the climate issue, it doesn't matter. You're always going to have temperature inversions because you're a geothermal bowl down here. Cold air likes to drain down in the valley and sit there. And then in the wintertime, not this year because you've got an El Nino, when you've got a high pressure overhead, it's just going to cap that inversion. And it could sit there for a couple of days, it could sit there for a couple of weeks. It just depends on how long that pattern sets up. So you're just set up for that. And it's not just a day thing, it doesn't go away. It's still around at night. Sometimes when the lights go through it, you get an idea of what all the different pollutants look like. So in a standard atmosphere, the atmosphere likes to cool as you go up. All right, temperatures typically decrease with height. But what happens in a temperature inversion is whether you're getting the cold air to sink down from the mountains or you get that nice big high pressure ridge aloft, this little warm layer in between is what traps everything. And it can be deep, and it's certainly deep with your inversion. And there's the problem. Unless you can mix it out with a front or a snowstorm like we had today, it sits around for a while. So these are the, I mean, when I saw this, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is classic, Salt Lake City here. The winter sun, low. This time of the year, it doesn't get to the ground and mix out the inversion, so it stays. It's not strong enough to do so. The warmer air aloft acts like a lid and holds the cold air and, most importantly, the pollutants down toward the ground. And the pollution from wood fires and cars, which is the majority of your issue here in Salt Lake City, is trapped under that inversion. And of course, mountains around a valley can enhance and strengthen that inversion. So this graph was made pretty much for Salt Lake City. Enjoy listening to you, Governor, about your investment in air quality. It does take leadership like that and the different programs that are going on. I was looking through this article and I saw, the big thing that you did last fall with the snow blowers that I think some of these people may wish they still had today, given what we have outside, but exchanging them for electric. And this program was so robust, it was 20 times what you expected it to be in terms of the people that signed up for it. So, I get the idea that people care, and they certainly want to breathe better air here in Salt Lake City. But let's look at a couple of the numbers here, all right? This kind of struck me a little bit in this article that Donna put out, all right? If you look at what you were in 2002, 1 ton per person, where you've come in 2017 by 0.5 ton, and then you consider the growth, is that, in fact, by the math, an advantage? Maybe so, because you've certainly got cleaner air, right? But then if you look at the population potential, which is 3 times what it is today, you'd have to take that 0.5 ton and divide it by 3 just to break even, right? But I certainly get the feeling by the dedication you guys have that you can accomplish that goal and go beyond the 0.166 per person. All right, so let's have a little fun. As you saw from the top of the hour and what Tom talked about, I don't know what it is along the way in my 30 years, but it's almost like people just expect when I show up in their town that something horrible is going to happen. So what happened when I showed up in Salt Lake City yesterday? We got the worst snowstorm in 25 years. The first time you shut down schools in 25 years. That's unbelievable. I swear I didn't plan that. I didn't bring it with me, but it just happens. But back about 7 years ago, the Weather Channel decided, hey, you know what? Why don't we do a little spoof on this? Why don't we have a little fun with Cantori? And so we went to Wilmington, North Carolina, and we shot this commercial.
Everybody can use a vacation, but sharing it with the Weather Channel's Jim Cantori can be a little unnerving. Look, we did it. Usually when Jim shows up, bad weather isn't far behind. But can't the guy get a break when he's on a break?
Every vacation.
Catch the Weather Channel's Jim Cantori all summer long. Just hopefully not on your beach.
Yeah. So it's interesting. We played that on the air on TV like 7 years ago, and then they only played it for 1 season. But somebody grabbed a hold of it and they put it on social media. They put it on YouTube. And every time there's a hurricane or tropical storm, it goes absolutely nuts. And going to town to Wilmington to shoot that, people were asking me like, "Holy cow, Cantori, what's happening? Why are you here?" I'm like, "Oh no, we're just here to shoot a commercial." "Really? You sure?" "Yeah, I'm sure." So it was just funny to watch the whole thing set up. All right, so a couple of smaller things here. When you're in the studio, you've got all these people talking to you in your ear. all right? And a lot of times when we start to use bigger parts of the studio, you have to kind of clear everybody out. Cameras, everybody. And sometimes you just don't get out of the way in time.
There's this thing called the urban heat island effect. And right in a city, you have all of these buildings. Now, there's a couple things that makes that significant. First of all, everything radiates energy.
Did you catch that guy on the left there? So like, Cantori, get out of the way. Get out of the shot. I'm like, wait a minute, the camera's way over there on Stephanie. How can I be in that shot? So, you know, especially in the days of these great graphics that we're starting to do now in the studio, you gotta get out of the way. All right, so fast forward a little bit to 2017 Hurricane Harvey. All right, we all remember that coming into the Texas coast as a Cat 4, first one since 2004, I think, with Charlie, yeah. And then it, of course, came up and flooded Houston, which is really the calling card of Harvey. Back in the day, they used to have us out, top and bottom of the hour, doing live shots in a severe weather event, which was fine. We could get in and get out of the weather, get a little break, and then go out and rough it again for 2 to 3 minutes. Now, they're like, why would we want to take them out of the weather? Why do we want to take the camera off of them? Let's let them host the weather event from the field. So oftentimes now we're out 4 to 8 hours in the event, covering the event. We're the anchor. So instead of anchoring from the studio, we anchor from the field. And so there's all sorts of things going on. When you're doing that, there'll be a producer in your ear saying, hey, throw to this shot, throw to that shot, go to, you know, Dr. Nab back in the studio. And so someone got in my ear and they said, Jim, go to Dottie Schwartz. Okay. So I threw to Dottie Schwartz.
All right, Dottie Schwartz is with us this evening from NBC. She is in Titusville and files this report.
Yeah, here in Titusville, the winds are definitely picking up.
All right, Dottie, apologies. Since I've never met you, I didn't know your gender, but it doesn't matter. Great report, buddy.
Yeah. Anyway, so Dottie is not Dottie, it's Gotti. But when you're out there and the wind's blowing at 50 to 70 miles an hour and you get rain hitting you in the head, Dottie sounds like Gotti. So that was a little embarrassing. And Gotti does a great job for NBC, so my apologies to him. All right, like I mentioned to you guys, we kind of host these shows now during winter storms, blizzards, floods, what have you. And there was a nice little winter storm that came into Connecticut last winter, January or February, I can't remember. Probably it was February of 2018. And this was just the end of a long trip because we went from, you know, Boston to Worcester. You know the rain. If you any New Englanders in here, the rain. Yeah, so the rain snow line changes a little bit when you're getting close to a storm. So we wound up all the way in Western Connecticut near Danbury, in a little town called Berlin. And so at the end of the long day, behind me in my whole shot was this huge hill, and it was just full of snow. And I thought, I'm gonna have a little fun on the hill.
Look at the hill. Here we go, baby. Woo! 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 Wow! What a hitter! Hitter! I'm dizzy. I'm a little dizzy right now.
Anyway, I don't really have any comments after that. That speaks for itself. Winter 2015-2016. Any Bostonians in the room? 108 inches of snow, exactly. They got crushed. We literally lived up there. We were on air. I mean, I had people coming up to me and say, Cantor, you want to buy my condo? Okay, you're up here so much. They see us on the air. So, you know, we had to find out different ways to do television. We couldn't just stand there in the snow all. So we were with NBC at the time, and we were driving around. If you've ever been in East Boston or in the North Shore, I mean, these are very tight streets. These used to have horse and buggy, not cars. And they're certainly not meant for cars parked on both sides of the streets. But when you get 4 to 6 feet of snow and it doesn't melt, it really can pile up in there. So we're driving around, and we thought we'd as we go by somebody, we just thought we would talk to them and ask them how it's going, and sometimes they don't really feel like talking to you.
Excuse me. How you doing there, young man? Good. What type of job do you think you got here? 20 minutes, an hour? Why? Well, I just want to know how long I think it's going to take you. I don't think he wants to tell me. Yeah. We're actually broadcasting for the Weather Channel right now, so we're showing everybody how much snow Boston has on the ground.
Yeah, we'll cut this part out. How's that? For that little snide thing you look at him. How long is it going to take?
See that? Obviously, shoveling out right now is not something that everybody wants to do.
Holy cow, those Bostonians are a little tough up there. I can't remember if the Red Sox or Patriots didn't win that year, but they must not have. Anyway, if you notice, I almost want to play that again. And I think I'm going to, because I want you to notice. Oh, I guess I can't go back. Okay, there it is. But watch my producer in the back seat.
How you doing there, young man?
All right?
What type of job
So
you
watch
got?
right about here.
20 minutes, an hour? Why? Well, I just want to know how long I think it's going to take you.
The window goes down. There's the hand. He's like waving the guy over into the shot.
We're actually broadcasting for the Weather Channel right now, so we're showing everybody how much snow Boston has on the ground.
Yeah, we'll cut this part out. How's that? For that little snide thing you look at him. How long is it going to take?
See that? Obviously, shoveling out right now is not something that everybody wants to do.
All right, so I didn't know my producer was doing that. So I think that's what ticked him off. When I saw it afterwards, I was like, Steve, why did you wave him over? Oh, I was trying to get him in the shot. Well, don't do that. Do that next time, all right? That's not a good thing. All right. I don't know what it is, guys, but I've actually been in the field during 5 different thunder snow episodes when they've happened while I've been on the air. Now, thunder snow isn't super rare, but it's rare when you're on the air and it happens. All right, and what it is, if you think about a typical thunderstorm that happens in the summer, it's kind of the same physics, but it just happens above the cold air. So when the precipitation comes down, it comes down as snow, heavy snow. And it's usually pretty intense snow that it's going on. So these are 4 of the 5 episodes that I was a part of during live television. And what's really interesting is I've also been in thunder sleet, and I've been in thunder freezing rain. But those happen during the day, so those don't look as sexy. All right? And we're going to go from the February 5th, the 2015, all the way back to 1996, which was my first one in Worcester, Massachusetts. Enjoy.
Oh, yes! 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 We got it, baby! We got it! We got it! Woo! Woo! We got it! Yes! Listen to that! Listen to that! Oh, baby!
Well, I heard it was a bus spin out plus cars are
Oh! Listen to that! Son of a... That's unbelievable!
How about a little thunder and lightning, Heather? There it is, right there. Oh. There it is, man. We just got a beautiful flash of lightning here with it. Oh. Whoa! Is that lightning? Christina! What? We just had a thunder, snow. We just had a lightning strike and thunder here in Worcester.
You know the scariest thing about that is I can hear my voice change going back in time. It was a little bit, right? So talk about calling your shot. Well, Bill and Heather, how about a little thunder? Boom, there it is. So that was just totally weird that happened. But it's interesting, being a Vermonter, I had never had a thunder snow experience in Vermont. So back in '96 when I got it in Worcester, I never had experienced that. But I used to do the Fox NFL Sunday game with Howie and all those guys. And they still have that show, which is awesome. But they would have me on there to do some of the football forecasts with them. And so Howie decided to take him on himself and say, Cantor, you know what? If you're such a great meteorologist, why are you asking somebody else if that's thunder and lightning? What could I say to that? I was just like, gosh, Howie, you're right. Anyway, All right, so this one that happened in 2015 is an awesome story, okay? Because, like I said, remember 2015, 2016, we're living in Boston. We're covering snow all the time. So the Weather Channel calls up one day and they said, you know, Cantori, the winds are going to be about 55 miles an hour in Plymouth. And I said, what's the difference between 45 and 55 miles an hour in a blizzard? Is anyone going to know that? Because we're comfortable. We're at the Long Wharf Marriott. You know, we're eating and like kings. I'm getting points left and right. Anyway, I don't want to leave. I'm comfortable. So I'm like, all right, fine. You know what? My producer, Steve Pederak, and I, let's get a change of scenery. So we go down to Plymouth, Massachusetts. And February 15th, the next morning rolls around. Reynolds Wolf took my place in Boston. So he's got Boston duty. Well, I've got snow duty in Plymouth. And Plymouth is just south of Boston. It's about an hour and a half drive south of Boston. So it's down there on the Cape. And so I see Reynolds get thunder snow at about 5:05 in the morning. I was crushed. I literally just went like this, face down in the snow, and I'm crying like a 2-year-old because he got the thunder snow and I didn't. Until about 15 minutes later.
Oh, yes! 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 We got it, baby! We got it! We got it! Woo! Oh! Again! Again! That's a twofer! That's a twofer, baby! Yes! Yes! Again! That's a 3! You gotta be kidding me! You gotta be kidding me! He picked up and through here. And there's another one! That's number... You gotta be kidding me! I could hear thunder, so we had another one. So we actually had five strikes, 5 thunder. I mean, this is just a total change. Literally within an hour. Was that another one? Was that... Oh my good... Dude, that's number 6!
All right, so the inside baseball of this whole thing is, I've been in Boston the whole winter, all right? They call me, they say, let's put Reynolds there. Let's give Reynolds a shot at Boston, Massachusetts. I'm like, oh, so I go down to Plymouth. I go down there. I see Reynolds get the thunder snow first. I was crushed. I was demoralized. My face went down in the snow. 15 minutes later, I got it. And I got it again. And I got it again. And I got it again. The rest is history. It was a great day at the office.
So the reaction, the hysteria, stemmed from me seeing Reynolds get it first and being so demoralized. So when I got it, it was like I mean, I was just elated. I'm like, I got it now. So I went nuts. I mean, I really did. My favorite reaction, though, is not my own. Later that day, a gentleman from Kansas sent me a Twitter video of his daughter.
Oh, yes! 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 We got it, baby! We got it! We got it! Woo! Yes! Again! That's a 3! You gotta be kidding me! You gotta be kidding me! Pederak! Oh my God!
Yeah. Isn't that great? So I couldn't believe. So I mean, you know, it's really funny because nowadays, if something happens to you on the air, you don't just play it once. They're like, we're going to get a lot of mileage out of that. So somebody put all of those 6 times that I got it that morning together, and we just played it on and on and on. And they were watching the Weather Channel, and obviously to see the little girl just go crazy totally made my day. All right, so sometimes when we go to colleges to do live broadcasts, it doesn't work out so great. One time I was in Nebraska for an ice storm, and I had this guy walking behind me with a big horse head. And then, of course, he comes on top of me and mauls me, and I didn't do anything about it, and I felt like such a candy butt. So I said to myself, I actually, after he did that, I essentially said, cut my mic. And I said, I will never let that happen again. Never. I've had it. I've had it with people coming up to me when I'm on the air and attacking me. I mean, do people come up when you guys are working and maul you at your desk? No. Well, I don't expect people to do it to me either. So I kind of have this thing now where I'm a little ready for it. All right? And I was at the College of Charleston, and this was during the big Atlanta snow jam when Atlanta locked up. I said, who cares about a couple inches of snow in Atlanta? Well, you saw what happened. But I said, I want the ice storm in Charleston, because I think it's going to be worse. If they get ice in Charleston, I usually go there to cover hurricanes. So anyway, for whatever reason, we went down to Charleston. They sent us down to Charleston. And remember, I've always got this in the back of my head now. So I'm going to show you the incident. But what's even more amazing is the fact that it got picked up by late night television.
This is impressive. Weather Channel reporter Jim Cantori was at the College of Charleston in South Carolina. He got a surprise visitor, as reporters on the Weather Channel often do, but Jim did not let that interrupt his report.
I've come to Charleston a few times before to cover tropical storms and hurricanes, but not an ice and snowstorm, which is what we're expecting. We have not gotten into the worst part of this storm yet. That is to come a little bit later on tonight. So obviously here at the College of Charleston, they're already having a good time.
It's like the Chuck Norris of meteorologists. He didn't even look away from the camera. Let's see just that part again.
That is to come.
Nuts on an early spring break. I thought that was impressive. So we got in contact with Jim. He joins us live now via satellite. Let's go. Hi, Jim. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
Really?
That was quite a moment. I guess you have to be ready for anything out there, huh?
Right, especially when you're shooting live.
Yeah, have you had run-ins before with nuts like that?
Every once in a while, someone does something silly. I'm just so focused and do so many of these reports, I really don't even remember.
Okay, well, you know, that actually looked like something right there. Do you have bodyguards with you? Anyone to protect you or anything like that?
It's funny you say that. No, not really. Just me, an audio guy, and my camera guy. They're pretty busy too, so there's nothing much they can do if something goes down.
It seems to me like you've had a couple of altercations just since we've been speaking here.
Nah, you could be right. I'm just so accustomed to reporting the weather that I just
Well, that is Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel. He's
Anyway, yeah. So the reason I knew I was headed for issues with that was after the incident, I just kind of went back to the truck and I was like, oh God, all right. So I sit down at my computer and I see like 7,000 notifications. So BuzzFeed catches it, they tweet it out, and it just goes boom, viral. That was crazy. That was crazy. Anyway, what's really interesting is I wish I had a picture of the look on my cameraman's face, on my producer's face, on my audio guys. They were like, anyway, if you guys know anything about self-defense, you know I missed the target. Because when you hit the target, that person goes down immediately. So my thought was, as I heard the screaming coming at me, target drops, I finish my report, and before I throw it back to the studio, I help him up, right? That would have been the ultimate shot. Anyway, close but no cigar. All right, so Hurricane Michael just last year, and remember what I told you, we are now hosting the show. So even on the other side of a building doesn't necessarily mean you're protected.
I tried to get down on the beach with my cameraman, but the sand is relentless. I mean, because...
Yeah, that was close. Little 2x4 flying in the air. Did you guys catch that? We'll show it again. So watch the 2x4.
I tried to get down on the beach with my cameraman, but the sand is relentless. I mean, because...
So off camera, Jim runs over to his producer and I said, give me that damn helmet. Because I wasn't wearing a helmet. Because I'm like, we're out of the eye wall, you know, so I don't really think I have to worry about anything. But you do, because so much stuff just gets flying around, even in a 70 to 90 mile an hour wind. All right, so here's another story. We're at this hotel. We're in Panama City Beach, not Panama City, but Panama City Beach, which is outside the western eye wall of Michael. And remember Michael? Michael was a beast. I mean, 155-mile-an-hour hurricane. You know, it was an hour away from becoming a Cat 5, really, for October, which is amazing. So NBC's there, Carrie Sanders is there, and we used to have a partnership with NBC, and it was great, and I love Carrie. But everybody's always watching everybody else's shots. And they want that shot. Oh, that's a better shot. They want that shot. So you kind of see, you know, movement, if possible, with crews. So Carrie comes out and takes our shot. I was like, he's poaching our shot. You know, this is our shot out here on this side. And anyway, let me show you. Let me show you what happened. There's Carrie.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So I took the high road, regardless of the poaching. Notice I had the helmet on too at that time. So that was after the little 2x4 incident. But it was, I mean, Kerry was heading for the pool. He was heading for the pool. It's really amazing when you're out there, because this little thing called the Venturi effect, which is taking mass and putting it through a smaller area, it has to accelerate. We went through one of those little areas walking back, and I mean, you could see Kerry was heading off to the pool. But I won't lie to you guys. For a couple of seconds, I thought to myself, what if I just let him go in the pool? No. All right, so we are in a great age of technology for my business, especially when we can actually show you what's happening three-dimensionally with the weather. And so there's this new technology, and I don't really know what it is, immersive mixed reality. And essentially you're immersing yourself, the talent, with like a video game. I become part of a video game. And if you've ever seen some of these high-end video games now on Xbox and PlayStation 4, it's pretty real, okay? So that's what we're doing with weather now. And we've done storm surge, we've done hurricane EF scale, we've done fires and things like that. And I got a chance a couple of weeks ago to do an ice storm. But what's really interesting about this immersive mixed reality is you're not standing in front of anything but a green wall. So I have to look at the right spots on the green wall. I have to act a little bit, kind of, because I can't hear any sound. I don't know when the sound is coming, but I just have to know where to look, and they're going to have to put that in afterward. So it's me. There's a lot of people that go into this. Believe me, these things take like 25 days to make. You've got a cameraman who's got to move the camera at the right time, and another person who's advancing the graphics on my words and my cue. All right, so this is the latest one that we've done on Ice Storm.
Check out this blizzard. I am up in the clouds, way up as a matter of fact. About 6,500 feet. It's a long way down there. Snow's flying all over the place, and oh, wait for it. Yes! Thunder snow, baby. How do I always get myself in these situations? We'll save that for another segment. All right, listen. This is a monster winter storm, but there's a wrinkle in the forecast. Let's take this down a little closer to the ground. I'll show you what. All right, there is so much warm air feeding into this beast that these falling snowflakes are actually melting. In fact, most of the precipitation around me is rain, which is not good because down near the ground and on the ground, we've got temperatures holding at 29 degrees. Listen, the cold air is so dense, it remains locked in place. The warm air has to go up and over that cold air, and the rain doesn't have time to refreeze into sleet pellets. So now, we have to deal with accumulating ice. Just 1/10 of an inch makes roads and sidewalks extremely slippery. 1/4 of an inch can break branches and cause spotty power outages. And once you're over 1/2 inch, serious problems ensue. Ice storms can cause billions of dollars in damage. They can hit ground transportation, aviation, and power sectors really hard. I mean, just look at these power lines. All right, those icicles must be, You gotta be kidding me. Where did that come from? That giant icicle just fell from his cell tower. These ice missiles can reach speeds of 90 miles an hour and land 1,000 pounds of force. Just look around. Ice collects on everything. Look at the stress on these power lines. Hundreds of pounds of excess weight, causing them to sag and sometimes even snap the poles that they're attached to. And you know what? The same goes for the trees. Ice can increase the weight of the branches by 30 times. You hear that? Oh, I think this thing's coming down. Here it comes. Oh! Holy smoke! Whoa, and up! There goes the power! Power's out. Thank goodness nobody was sitting in that bench. You know what? Look around. There's nobody out here. Nobody on the roads. Businesses are shut down. Schools closed. That's exactly the way it should be when you have an ice storm of this magnitude. What the heck is that? You gotta be kidding me. A bus? I obviously spoke too soon. This is not gonna end well. Look, the bus is already starting to slide. Look at that. 150,000 plus accidents per year. It doesn't matter if you're in a heavy bus or a four-wheel drive. You're gonna slide on the ice. 40,000 people get injured on average. And you know what? I hope this bus stops. 500 people lose their lives. That's 500 too many. You know what? It's a good thing that there are no passengers on this bus. You don't ever want to be on the road in these conditions. You're putting yourself and others at risk. Stay at home and be ready to deal with an extended time without power because the crews are not going to be able to get to you until the ice storm is stopped. I've had enough of this. Stay safe. I'm out of here.
So that's where we're going with weather. And as we look forward to the future, we want to have probably about 80% of our on-air with this immersive mixed reality in real time. So imagine standing in Nashville and you've got this huge squall line coming at you with these 50,000-foot towers. Can we put that to scale? We'll see. That's what we're going to try and do. But that's what the future holds for weather, to be able to really show everybody what it's like to be out there, even though we're not necessarily out there. So maybe I don't have to worry about 2x4s anymore. I doubt it. We'll be out there in those. Guys, keep fighting the good fight. And I will too. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Another big hand for Jim Cantori.
Thank you.
Let's flip my book here. There we go. Don't you all wish you had a passion for your job the way Jim has a passion for his job? We know the governor has a passion for his job this way, and I love what we're doing at UCAIR. As a token of our appreciation, we have a gift for you, and it's from Ski Utah.
Oh,
It includes some passes so you can enjoy going up and skiing.
Anybody want to go skiing tomorrow?
Yeah, look at that. I think a number of people would like to ski with Jim. Thank you, Jim, so much for coming.
My pleasure.
Thank you for your friendship. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Cantori.
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Folks, on your tables, we have a few things for you. doTERRA has provided cards, not cars. Missy, can you get us some cars? No? Okay. Cards with clean air tips along with a bottle of their product, Breathe. Additionally, each one of you has been provided with a Show You Care cling for your car and a stress ball in the shape of a cloud when you're really feeling it. Please enjoy these gifts as a reminder of your evening here tonight and your commitment to Show You Care. As we conclude this tremendous evening, I want to leave you with one final word of encouragement. Some of you may remember last year's summit, where I shared with you the theory of the aggregation of marginal gains, where everyone's small changes add up to significant outcomes. Together, we have made unimaginable strides in our progress towards clearing our air. As you've likely heard me say many times, there are no perfect answers, but there are practical solutions. I thank each of you here for putting those practical solutions into practice. I hope you've heard tonight that all of those small actions taken together are producing real positive change. Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Jim. Thank you to our board. Thank you to Merit. Thank you to all of our sponsors. And thank you for coming out tonight and showing that you care. Have a great night. Drive safely.